Welcome back to The Edge. Hey, Meta rolls out ads on Threads. Google revises its search quality raters guidelines since March of 2024. We have a news focus today on AI and SEO with Sara Taher. You're listening to News from The Edge here on Edge of the Web Radio.
From the Edge of the Web studios, here's what we're looking at this week.
Welcome back. Hey, this is Edge of the Web Radio. I'm your host, Aaron Sparks. Thanks for joining us. We're covering SEO and digital marketing news of the week each and every week, separate from our interview series, so you can get more information to you even more quickly, so you can use that for your digital marketing work week. Be sure to check out all the recent shows over at edgeofthewebradio.com. That's edgeofthewebradio.com. Title sponsor for our show today is Site Strategics. This is the Site Strategics Digital Marketing News Desk. Proud to have them as our title sponsor. We're one of the top SEOs in the Midwest, and our team at Site Strategics are consummate learners. That's why we do this show each and every week. So go over to sitestrategics.com, check out what we can do for you. Happy to have an hour consultation, be able to check out what you're doing and give you some insights into tactics that could very well improve your digital marketing visibility that week. But anyway, go over to sitestrategics.com, and we certainly would love to be able to talk to you about what we can do with you. Joining me this week is Sara Taher. She's the organic search consultant, speaker, and author. Sara, thanks for joining us this week.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me, Aaron.
Yeah, you're more
Super
than welcome.
happy to be here.
You're more than welcome. We're happy to have you. Got to say that I was eager to have... You've got a hammer.
This is how happy I am.
We've got a cricket and a hammer. She's not pulling any punches, folks. We're going to be diving into AI and SEO here today on this focused news segment here. Sara, what's going on in your side of the fence in your world? We talked about kids with bangs and smudged glasses before the show here, but what's happening on your side of the fence?
I mean, 1 second. Is this SEO or is this personal?
This is just personal. Go for it.
Okay, go for it. Yeah, I keep asking myself, why do kids have to have their hair covering their eyes? It's weird. It's weird. Like the photo I just messaged you, emailed you now. What is this? Like, open the drapes. Like, what is this?
You're deliberately blocking any interaction with the world.
I literally told my son, okay, I'm going to come to school like this. If we're going to all be hiding, I'm going to come to school and reciprocate because you cannot go out with me like this. Like,
oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, we had a little bit of commiseration before the show, just talking about kids and why they just don't clean their glasses. Please, somebody, tell me what in the world's going on there. All right, so what in the world's going over at Meta, especially on Threads? Check this out. Over at Search Engine Land from Anu Adegbola, Meta has begun testing thread ads, giving advertisers a new way to reach 300 million active users by extending existing campaigns. So they're rolling this out. They're transformed Threads from a pure social experience into potential advertising powerhouse, allowing businesses to easily extend their existing Meta ad campaigns with some minimal effort. Big picture, says Anu, advertisers can now add threads into their campaign reach by simply checking a box in Ads Manager. Simply, just simply that. Initially, the test it will feature image ads appearing intermittently in users' home feeds. The key details are that it's a small-scale initial test with limited advertisers. The ads will appear between content in the home feed. 3 out of the 4 thread users already follow at least one business, and that's the key point right here. But all things being equal, what they just did is kind of just crap on an organic environment that they had rolled out a while back. Nothing sacrosanct, right? They did this to messaging. They did this to all the other feeds in their space. Granted, it's their territory, it's their community, but isn't anything safe just to have an organic conversation? I mean, my God, please, Blue Sky, do not sell advertisement. I'm begging you. Please, it's one area that can't we just not have ads someplace? Anyway,
how are they going to stay in business?
I don't know. Get funding. Get
Patreon.
Blue Sky Patreon. Absolutely.
I'm there.
Isn't it interesting that they started to monetize Threads, but not WhatsApp yet?
Right.
It's very right. Well, Zuckerberg has been doing rounds in the news recently, so.
Yes, he has been doing his rounds. He actually was sitting right behind Trump, along with all the other big tech heads of state here. So anyway,
his entire new look and attitude and everything weird.
yeah, he had a few new looks there. But my concern here is targeting, right? Because if you're running into ads, targeting for ads has to be able to be managed. It just can't be a checkbox. I'm sure they're going to have more audience targeting here, but you're also getting into a brand new area, which the entire 300 million users were using it as an organic interaction. Now we've got ads in the mix there. So you got to be careful of just checking a box and saying, hey, this is great. Let's go ahead and plow through that particular section. I know we're not going to be talking about ads here today, Sarah, but at the same time, got to bring it to everybody's attention. You may want to experiment if you're running ads in Facebook and other platforms. Try it out, see what happens there. But can we distinguish the Threads platform from the Facebook platform? Shouldn't we have an additional UTM URL so we can actually segregate those audiences as they're coming into our destination sources? Shouldn't we be able to see that a little bit more clearly? Hopefully, they'll give us that additional segmentation. But that said, just want to let everybody know that Meta's out there and we get to advertise on that. All right, so that said, hey, from Search Engine Journal, Google updates its search quality raters guidelines, and this is from Matt Southern. What we need to know, Google has updated their search quality raters guideline the first time since March of last year, folks. Something to pay attention to, especially as we get into the AI discussion today.
All the new changes, the expired domain abuse, the site reputation abuse, and the scaled content abuse, all of these things, in concept, they're not new. It's just the new is putting them like in writing,
in
right?
the document itself, right?
Concept, we knew they're like, sort of spammy and shouldn't be done, right?
Right. But there is a permanence there whenever the document gets updated, and we're always paying attention when the Quality Raters Guideline, QRG, gets updated. Okay, this is policy. This is something that we've known about it. They've talked about it, and they're certainly adequate in communicating their philosophies in a number of different channels, along with their own podcast with Mueller and Ish. But at the same time, making sure that we make point to recognize whenever an update comes through like that. So they've defined and they address AI-generated content in the Quality Raters Guideline. They also talk about AI tools allowed, but content must provide unique value. A couple quotes here real quick here. Key highlights, they added generative AI definition in section 2.1. Important definitions now formally addresses AI-generated content, providing clear guidance on how raters should evaluate machine learning-generated materials. The definition reads, generative AI is a type of machine learning, ML, model that can take what it has learned from examples that has been provided to create new content such as text, images, music, and code. They also have another definition of lower versus lowest quality content in sections 4.6, I'm sorry. They've actually been substantially revised, introducing detailed subsections on new forms of spam and low-quality content. Are we getting a signal here, folks? Generative AI content, low-quality content. The update identifies 3 areas: expired domain abuse, which we've heard before, where an expired domain is purchased and repurposed primarily to benefit the new website owner by hosting content that provides little or no value to its users. On top of that, site reputation abuse. Site reputation abuse is a tactic where third-party content is published on a host site, Forbes, mainly because of the host site's already established ranking signals, which is earned primarily from its first-party content. And then, to your point, the scaled abuse definition. Scaled content abuse is a spam practice described in the Google search web spam policies. Scaled content abuse occurs when many pages are generated for the purpose of primarily benefiting the website owner and not helping the user. Are you hearing a theme here, folks? I'm going to turn it over to you here for a couple points, Sarah.
First thing, the response to this, or what Google is doing, is it's applying manual actions versus algorithmically a lot of times, right? We've seen that recently, and this is something we're going to be touching on later on in our conversation today. So I don't know. I don't feel this is very practical, and it doesn't feel, it's not like an update or anything. So, people will still try to manipulate this as long as they can. But the good news is, when we have this clarity about content, AI-generated content, we can show it to our clients, because this is one of the most common questions you'll get every time you talk to a client. Can we use AI content? Can we use AI content? And I usually push back, but then this would help, right?
Yep. It really would. And that's actually one of the most useful tools, is to be able to actually show a client, no, don't go here, because they're clearly defining what, and they're drawing the line in the sand here, and they had to do it now. And I think I can understand why they haven't updated it in a while, because of how quickly the environment's changing, right? It's like pinning down what is generative content. They have to draw the line in the sand, though, now on what they see, and on top of that, coupling it with how helpful it is, because generating AI content is by its very nature looking at things that already exist. It's not looking at what's unique to you or your business or your client, for that matter. It's a tool to be able to understand and guide strategy potentially, but not, it is homogenized. And we've talked about this before. It is not unique to the world. Google's seen it before, searchers have seen it before. There's nothing new that's coming out of generative AI. So they're trying to define that for us with this update.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So that back to that first about generative AI, section 2.1, it says how raters should evaluate machine learning generative materials. So does that only apply if someone flags their stuff as AI generated?
No.
So if they read an article that doesn't say anything about it being AI generated, they have the freedom to say, I believe this is AI generated, and then rate it differently.
Yep, absolutely.
That's interesting. What if someone's just a really bad writer? I'm just curious. I just thought that was interesting.
I have a problem. I just jump in randomly, and it always coincides with someone speaks. I'm sorry about this.
No, you're fine.
Anyways, I heard something that really stuck with me, and I think it should be like how we look at content. Content in this era is going to be created faster than it's consumed, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Which is a concern, because now people can pump out content, and obviously this is not the type of content that user wants or Google wants. So yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. And that's why also there is, in the guidelines, there is the effort put into content. That's a way that Google evaluates the quality of the content as well, right? So just something to keep in mind. As you said earlier, if it's too good to be true, we had this conversation before we started, it probably is. If it's too fast to create, it's probably just garbage, right? So
absolutely. Pivot real quick. Let's make sure that we recognize our sponsor. Hey, we're proud to have Site Strategics as the sponsor of Edge of the Web. Hey, question. This is dovetailing into our conversation here. How do you create authoritative subject matter expertise that we know Google's looking for? I mean, they've clearly defined it in their recent update, right? Learning from your client is always the best place to start, but organizing a well thought through interview process is time consuming. That's what we do here over at Site Strategics. We developed a SME, subject matter expert interview process, that's backed by our years of interview techniques, as well as SEO research, buyer's journey, persona definitions, and the like. You can bring us in as an SEO SWAT team to be able to conduct a series of interviews that deep dives with your subject matter experts, and loaded with a good deal of strategy and research, we can navigate some very, very valuable content interviews that can also be able to be transcribed and curated into a number of different environments. So we can help you build blog content, build structural content on your website, social media, and the like. All this comes from your subject matter's voice, passion, and authority. This is where you go, folks, when you're trying to develop authoritative content. So check us out over at sitestrategics.com. Give us a call. We can certainly walk you through some of the successes that we've had with our clients. All right, that's it. Let's pivot around to our AI SEO focus with Sara Taher. All right, first article on deck here, and we'll certainly appreciate your contribution to our focus here. First article we want to go into is over at Yahoo News. What is China's Deepseek, and why is it freaking out the AI world? All right, so if you've not been privy or not been watching social here over the last week, there is a new player in town in the AI front, and that is Deepseek. All right, Deepseek's a Chinese artificial intelligence startup that just over a year old. It stirred awe and consternation in Silicon Valley after demonstrating AI models that offer comparable performance to the world's best chatbots at seemingly a fraction of the development cost. I believe it cost around $7 million to create this, and it is 1/100th of what has been invested in OpenAI and other generative and LLM products here. So that said, Deepseek is a huge discussion right now, and it's emerging as a huge factor. It's a counterpoint to the widespread belief that the future of AI will require ever-increasing amounts of computing power and energy. We're going to be talking about thirsty ChatGPT here in a second here. So this global technology just got released, and the global technology stocks tumbled on January 27th, and I think NVIDIA's stock dropped 13% at the awareness of this new product in the marketplace. So it's a tool, and I've seen a lot of social media.
Here,
go ahead.
Yeah, some people are upset. They lost a few thousands in the stock, and I'm like, Jensen Huang lost over $500 billion just like that.
Oh my Lord.
Right?
Yes, huge. Wow. There's a lot of stock drops, and again, back to our original point is, as we talked about it, if it's too good to be true, it could very well not be true. But here's the deal, is that there was a LinkedIn post I looked at defining ChatGPT against Deepseek. And what was clear, as this person, I'll put it in the show notes here, as he was demonstrating this, ChatGPT is much broader. It's much more like a Swiss Army knife of functionality. Well, Deepseek is much more factual. It's like a microscope going into certain concepts in certain areas. So it's got a much better learning mechanism. It's actually bringing much more factual information to a specific narrow focus. And I'm going to leave it there because there's a lot of people talking about what this tool is. What are your thoughts on what you've first seen with Deepseek, Sarah?
Definitely, it's not the same as ChatGPT. Just to be clear, yes, ChatGPT is wide, much broader. I think I agree with you. Deepseek focuses on reasoning and coding tasks. Mm-hmm. It still obviously needs to be tested more and played around with more to get an understanding of, how useful it is and how much it can be integrated into our workflows. And I mean, a big advantage it has is it has an affordable API. So, I mean, if we compare that to OpenAI, things will start to, if it's delivering the same quality, things will start to be more clear. What type of tasks are we willing to use Deepseek AI API for, right? Mm-hmm. A few things to note, this was created at a significantly lower price point, 6 million compared to hundreds of, I think it was $500 million or more for ChatGPT as well. So this may be the beginning of another wave of exponential growth in AI, since the cost and that sort of thing was a blocker. So things may continue to change faster than we are able to adapt. So maybe I don't want to be negative. Yeah. So one of the things that were noted and I read about as well is Deepseek outperforms OpenAI's models in mathematical problem solving, achieving a higher accuracy. Mm-hmm. So apparently they created a model that's more STEM focused, which definitely will come useful in specific situations. Mm-hmm. And but this way I don't see it becoming as a search engine. It's becoming a problem solver for maybe academics or data analysis or that sort of thing, but not the way ChatGPT is competing with Google right now. And then few concerns about Deepseek. Two things mainly. This release reminds us of the early days of ChatGPT, where there was prompts to jailbreak it into doing things it's not supposed to do. This is happening right now with Deepseek, so This is a concern. And then the second thing, obviously, is the privacy policy. Their privacy policy explicitly states that they collect the personal information. So they say the personal information we collect from you may be stored on a server located outside of the country where you live. We store information we collect in secure servers located in the People's Republic of China. They collect everything you put in there. So that's obviously a concern.
All right. So time out on the play here. Let's look at this here. Is that we are in the era of TikTok banning because of Chinese servers and what it was actually has been argued and defined that it was collecting from the U.S. population. Right now, we're
data from the other side, like you blocking.
Oh my gosh. So it literally states in its policies that we're going to collect that information, and people are giving that away. They're signing up in the app itself and they're saying, yes, take my information. There's a lot of social chatter in there of, oh, yeah. Hey, Deepseek, check out my bank accounts and help me do my finances. And are these passwords good? It's tongue in cheek, but there's
simple as paste. Go ahead. Sorry.
no, literally, just revealing that without compunction whatsoever. What are we as a society that something cheap comes in and all of a sudden everybody's flooding to this thing like
We give them our wallet, right?
Yeah.
Like here.
Take
my wallet.
To dovetail
Right?
that, I got a couple other articles here just to go around it. The White House is actually evaluating the effect on the China AI app Deepseek for national security. So they're already looking at this as a major security issue. Along with that, Microsoft is probing if Deepseek linked group improperly obtained OpenAI data. That's from Reuters and Bloomberg right there. So,
I mean, like if they scrape the data, like the way AI scrapes data. Oh, sorry.
oh, wait.
Pot?
Too soon, man.
Meets a kettle.
Well, they're probing to see if the data output from ChatGPT's maker's technology was obtained in an unauthorized manner by a group linked to the Chinese artificial intelligence startup Deepseek. They reported this on Tuesday, yesterday. So that's Microsoft Security looking at all this as well. So everybody's up in arms. The stock market changed overnight. NVIDIA's stock dropped 13%.
So buy now.
I don't even want to know now.
Right? No, buy now.
Oh, buy now.
Yeah, buy now.
Buy the dip. Yeah, okay, there's a okay. No, okay. Let's
We
stick
do
to
not
the
give
topic.
financial recommendations on this show.
Yes,
Nope.
yes.
All right, so Deepseek's in the water, folks, and yeah, absolutely. They also have a nice whale as an icon there, so tongue in cheek there. That's what's just happened.
Right,
here.
deep, maybe.
Deep
That's
fake.
why, like a deep ocean.
Yeah.
One more thing I want to add: it's not just about the type of information, like personal information, that comes to mind the moment we talk about personal information, like as you said, passwords and that sort of thing. It's even if you're debugging a code and it has your API key, and then you put it in there. They have now the LLM has your API key. Yeah. What if this, so one way or the other, is shared by someone else, and then you have to pay a huge bill afterwards, right? So
yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh Lord. All right. So jumping into another story in the AI front, new operators in town. Yes, indeed. OpenAI's new operator AI agent can do things on the web for you. All right. This is from The Verge.
Love The Verge.
Oh my gosh. So check this out, is that they've got a new agent.
Alligator parties?
Yeah. They've got a new agent that actually utilizes ChatGPT Pro, and if you're a subscriber of that, it's available to you. They released this research preview of the AI agent called Operator. It can go to web and perform tasks for you. Using its own browser, it can look at web pages, interact with it by typing, clicking, and scrolling. OpenAI says it's launching first in the U.S. for subscribers of OpenAI's $200 a month ChatGPT Pro user base. They rely on the computer-using agent model that combines GPT-4o Vision's capabilities with advanced reasoning through reinforcement learning to be able to interact with graphic user interfaces. OpenAI says the operator can see, quote unquote, through screenshots, they said, and interact using all the actions of a mouse and a keyboard with a browser, enabling it to take action on the web without requiring custom API integration. So you can train this thing, put together a series of prompts, have it actually interact, and gain research from that. I think Chris Long over at Go Fish actually demonstrated a number of things here on LinkedIn just recently, I think yesterday, about using Operator to be able to do website research and be able to train it on a number of different interactions per website. So now you've got an agent out there that you can train, and it will manually interact with different assets digitally, different assets online, and you can put together a series of scripts for it to actually pull in the research from those interactions. Be great for a kind of a user interactive testing tool, but there's also a number of fears in this space as well. So any thoughts about the operator that we now see in the water as well?
I don't see it's going to be widely spread as ChatGPT itself or any LLM. I feel the $200 per month is going to be a blocker. We in SEO specifically, we use a lot of software and a lot of SaaS, and is it worth it or not? And I think this is something we're going to discuss later on in our discussion today. Is there are some uses for AI. Are they for convenience, or are they for efficiency and actual value? Like they're actually save time, or they're just about convenience, right?
Right.
So I think this may have a bit of more convenience right now, at least for the use cases I have on my mind. Obviously, there's definitely some value there, but it's just, is it worth the investment, right? Maybe for some people, but I don't see it like a part of the marketing tool stack, right?
Right. No, absolutely. And I do hearken to Jeff Goldblum from Jurassic Park saying, just because you could do this doesn't mean you should. And I'm just thinking about the factor of having more and more agents interact. Now, we've got AI bots scraping content all over the place. We've got now AI user bots interacting with sites. Can't that actually be used incorrectly? Everything can be used incorrectly, obviously. But are we going to start boosting click interactions? Because we know Chrome uses Crux data and user interactions to be able to understand value of their ranking signals that we know of that came out of the DOJ documents. Now you can actually run a series of operators against a particular website and then tip the scale on interactivity with your own websites, right? Not giving anybody ideas, but is this also a factor out in the space?
I mean, Google has been facing click manipulation for long, right?
Yeah.
There's definitely some ways this is going to be used for manipulation. It's not very clear for me right now, but yeah, that's definitely potentially can happen. As I said, I don't see it essential in our toolkit.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to something that's essential from the Google side of things. Another article here, Google is testing AI generated what people are saying. All right. So on that side of the fence, this is on X. Just have a look at the thread that will have the show links itself. Great post here from Kushal Barwani. He says, we have two what people are saying. One is generic and one is a form of AI experimental in-page. We see more generative AI happening at the SERP level. What's your take on this, Sarah?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. This is similar to AI overviews, featured snippet situation. Like, what is Google doing, right? And I think it's not going to be like this forever. It's probably testing it on a variety of queries with different intent and different stages of the funnel. And then probably one of them is going to last, or one of maybe the data collected for the AI, probably. This is what they're trying to enhance, probably, right? Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that it's not enough that Reddit is ranking a lot. Now we're having more and more places. Yeah. Video content, obviously, it's important right now, and I've always been promoting that. But I mean, the way Google is changing SERPs, either to test or thinking that this is what the user wants, or keeping up with the user behavior trend, changing user behavior trend, it's making search not a reliable channel over time.
You're
all these changes consistently.
Correct. You're absolutely correct.
If you want to invest in a channel, you want to have an estimated sustainable ROI, and we're not seeing that right now.
But there's also trust. There's trust that these featured areas of the SERP are still coming in from authentic content. If everything is starting to be AI generated and to AI overviews, and now we also see AI generated knowledge panels that are expanding, and now you've got the PAAs that are no longer just PAAs. It's kind of the sacrosanct area. We were trusting that. And now on top of that, that's also going to be AI generated. Nothing is safe in the space. All right. So I think they're going to be breaking trust on the real estate of what we've been trained on as users and marketers to be able to affect and be able to market towards these different areas that are valuable. Another factor on the AI overview side of things really dovetails this over at Search Engine Roundtable by Barry Schwartz. This is on January 14th. Google can show sites with manual actions in AI overviews. Did you know that sites and pages that have manual actions can potentially show up in AI overviews? So while the page has search penalties applied to it and won't show up in the organic listings, it still can show up in the AI overviews at the top of Google search. What the crap? If we have a manual penalty, and rightfully so, if you got penalized, you were doing something wrong, what? AI overview doesn't have those same rules to abide by? We don't have that governance over that? If it's spam in one space, it should be spam in the other space, right?
Yeah, this is very interesting because this shows that AI overviews is an independent system operating very much differently and maybe in a whole different team than the search. Right. And that will give us an insight on what Google sees as helpful, because that's what AI overviews is about, versus authoritative and branding and all that sort of stuff that may potentially be the reason a lot of websites rank on the first page. So that's the good part about this. However, it's very annoying and very demotivating for people who are playing by the rules to see this happening. Like, we are waiting for something to remove all of the spam, all of the people who took shortcuts, and they still win, even after manual action, even after someone from Google team goes manually gives them a penalty, and they still get away with it. So it's very annoying. What's the purpose of spam policies if, that we just referred to, if they're not being applied correctly? Absolutely. And all I can hear is the sound of crickets.
Absolutely. I mean, the fact of the matter is that we've been, this hasn't been foisted on us. Obviously, SGE was inside testing lab. Now we have AI overviews since April. AI overviews also had a huge pushback because it was getting things wrong. And guess what? One of the litmus tests that you could very well have, if it's spam out there, if it's crap out there, don't let it into the AI ecosystem. They're just not thinking about this, and they're harming their brand if they think that this is going to be valuable. And they probably just haven't talked as a department. Maybe that's it. I don't know.
The spam problem with Google is it's either labeling something as spam and it's not, or something that's spam and it gets labeled as spam and then nothing happens, or something gets spam but gets away with everything. Yep. So yeah, I mean, we need some better action and better decisions in that area. Absolutely. Definitely.
Going to take a break here.
They say all SEOs are spammers. Aaron, do you agree?
Oh, that would get me in so much trouble
the
right now.
The industry of spam. They call me spammer, Aaron. I don't know.
I do not believe all SEOs are spam. But are all spammers SEOs?
I'm not a spammer. I'm not a spammer. They keep calling me a spammer, Aaron.
No.
Spam is delicious.
Spam is wonderful. We love it. Fried spam is wonderful.
You mean the tuna?
Yeah, absolutely.
I've never tried that.
Oh, my gosh. Spam. All right. Moving on. Hey, want to make sure we reference our continued sponsor on the show. That's InLinks. Happy to have them on the show this year. Did you know that entities play a major part in how search engines understand and rank content online? Unless it's inside of AI overview, then who knows what's in there nowadays. Optimizing your content solely around keywords is a thing of the past. Now's the time for adding entities into your mix and be able to reach higher rankings using InLinks, an award-winning software in entity SEO. Fantastic research tools in there, fantastic social media tools that can actually read your own content and create social media schedules. It is an incredible interlinking platform. In fact, we use it at the shop for our clients to be able to create an interlinking strategy for your content and a pillar strategy and reinforcing key pages that you want to be able to have rank. It's like moving all the guns on the battleship at once. It's an incredibly powerful tool. Go over to edgeofthewebradio.com/InLinks. Sign up for a free account and see how you can use that to your digital marketing advantage. Thanks, InLinks, for joining us in 2025. All right, back to our AI-focused articles here from Barry Swartz.
I have a hammer.
Yeah.
I have a hammer for this.
I think we're going to have a hammer with this one. Google using generative AI to create content for links is against spam policies, tying into our spam thread there. Google's John Mueller said that using generative AI to create blog posts and content for the purpose of getting backlinks is almost certainly against Google's spam policies. He said this in a response to a complaint that this was being done for their site, outsourced by their SEO firm to a third-party site. This came up in Blue Sky, where Becca Harrison posted that her SEO firm outsides link building to a company that generated content and blog posts using generative AI for the purpose of getting backlinks. Full stop, no. There's your hammer right there.
Yes. No. Okay. John. He said, okay, what he said is, it's frustrating to hear. Did you manage to get it deleted? This is almost certainly against Google's spam policies too. But, citing spammy sources in AI overviews is also against Google's policy. So, yeah, I'm not sure they're really doubling down, but yeah.
Fantastic. You're absolutely right. And
It was for the spam, not for Joan. Just to be clear. Yes.
no hammer for John.
Like,
and we really don't need to talk about it even further. However, if SEOs are practicing these techniques, and more importantly, companies that hire these organizations know what you're getting from that content that's being generated. Know it, because if you're just trusting that it's being created with authority, it's not. You have to check out everything that's being created on your behalf. So that said, pivoting around,
it's surprising how many companies or agencies don't have a QA process. Like, you do something and you just don't follow up what happened there. So this blood here on the hammer, I'm not sure if it's, this is the last SEO that didn't perform a QA I worked with, right?
Again, we don't endorse violence on the show. However,
we do endorse people watching this on YouTube.
Absolutely.
Go see what we're talking about.
Go check it out. Last couple of articles here real quick. I just wanted to make sure that we focused on the previous story about the power that's needed for these LLMs. There's an article from the Times, and I want to talk about this briefly here. Thirsty ChatGPT uses 4 times more water than previously thought. Did you know that ChatGPT used water? Well, the massive computer clusters powering AI consume vast quantities to be able to answer the world's queries. But how is big tech redressing the balance? Now, we talked about Deepseek coming out with lower processing power at a 100th of the cost of development here. So what is AI water? Tech giants have significantly increased their water needs for cooling their data centers due to the escalated demand for the AI products. So this graphic right here, we got it on the YouTube channel here. Writing 100, I kid you not, this is the thing. Writing a 100-word email using ChatGPT consumes 1 500 milliliter bottle of water.
Getting worried about my water. That's why I brought it next to me. Like, just reading this is just
it's making me parched right now. But think about that.
Now I want my water. And you know what's the annoying? It has to be drinking quality. Drinking quality, because impurities can cause damages to the server. It has to be our water, literally this
our water. We're taking ChatGPT, 100-word email equals 1 500 milliliter bottle of water, and it uses 140 watts of energy, enough for 7 full charges of an iPhone for a 100-word email. Now, you talk about the nonsense that's being created inside of ChatGPT and all these different LLMs. We have to police ourselves, folks. The type of crap that we create that doesn't even get published, doesn't even get to the point of useful technology. How many times have you went into ChatGPT and put in something that was completely stupid just to see what was going to be coming out of it? Do you realize you're throwing water down the drain?
And water.
And good water, too.
Yeah.
So
few things.
Go ahead.
Very frustrating that this is the same trend where they launch something in tech and then think of the consequences or the impact after, like, as an afterthought. So that's the problem. We've seen that before, and here it is again. Are we using AI for convenience or necessity? That's something we need to think about. But then here's the problem. There's no place to go, because if you say, okay, I'm not going to use ChatGPT, I'm going to use it less or only for important stuff, then are you, like, if you go to Google now, it has AI overviews as well. There's no place to go, right? You want to write an email, you want to research for a topic, whatever you want to do, there is no place to go. And here's two fun facts I find very interesting and annoying. I'm sorry for anyone who's going to get more anxiety as I am. The new data centers that are going to be built in Britain over the next 5 years could require the same amount of water as a city the size of Liverpool. Imagine.
Wow.
An entire city just for the data centers. And then another thing is that that needs to be addressed. There is no uniform regulatory requirements for data center operators to track and report their water use. None. They can just keep using water, and they don't have to tell anyone.
All right. So back in the days of carbon credits, and we're talking about the planet here, right? Are we going to be experiencing AI credits that we have to abide by ourselves? I mean, we have to police ourselves on the use of these tools, but there's got to be some regulation if this is abusing the environment so much and not. It could be very well directly, because you have to have a water source to do this, and you have to have a purification process. But literally, we don't know what we're doing to ourselves. And this is a comeuppance right here. This is a public service announcement, folks, before anything else. It's an incredible article. The latest AI server racks unveiled by NVIDIA are generating 120 kilowatts of power. They say it's an awful lot of heat. It's human meltingly hot, quote unquote, from David Craig, the chief executive of Isotope, the British company that helps cool these data centers. It's human meltingly hot processing heat there, folks.
Challenge accepted. Let's go check this out.
Let's go check this out. Let's stand by the rack, see if we melt.
I want my water, man. I'm hiding water now.
Now, here's the megaliters of water consumed in 2023. Check this out, this chart. I'll throw this up on, Jacob will throw this up on screen. Google used 24,227 megaliters of water, right? I can't even fathom. Get that? There's a pun there.
Did you see the movie Deep Water? Is it called Deep Water?
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, I feel this, like they have this thing that polluted a lot, and and then it's an afterthought. And that's the problem with how technology is approached, unfortunately. We just unleash it to the world and then collect the damages, fix the damages afterwards.
So Microsoft used 7,844 megaliters, and Meta used 2,938. And they have a visual down there, which is equivalent to 1 megaliter is 1 million liters of water, which is the equivalent of the number of Olympic 50-meter swimming pools. Actually, it is equivalent. So Google used 9,691 Olympic-sized swimming pools of water in 2023 alone. The number of baths are 161 million baths, the equivalent of what's in your bathtub, for powering their big tech AI.
Same number my kids took.
372 million showers.
It's very alarming. It's very alarming, and no one is talking about this.
No.
You're right. You're right. No one is talking about this, because I had no clue.
Believable.
This is
No, I feel
shocking.
bad. Like every time I use ChatGPT, I know I need to use it. And this is why I'm asking, is it a need or is it a convenience?
Yep.
But you feel bad, like all the water evaporating.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's
Drink
terrible.
more Red Bull.
Yeah, just shift Red Bull. All right, last article on the deck here, and this is kind of the punctuation mark that we have for the show here today. And I really do appreciate, Sarah, your contribution into the show. AI means the end of internet search as we know it. This is an article from Matt Honan over at MIT Technology Review. Despite fewer clicks, copyright fights, and sometimes iffy answers, AI could unlock new ways to summon all the world's knowledge and water. We all know what it means to Google something, obviously, and he unpacks the concepts around what search really is here. AI overviews fundamentally have changed the kind of queries that Google can address. You can now ask it numerous different things and interact with it, right? More to the point, he says, you can attempt searches that were once pretty much impossible and get the right answer. You don't have to be able to articulate what precisely you're looking for. This is doing it. And we also mentioned an article last week whenever we talked about Yahoo Search, bringing in a chat agent with you, and a QA chat agent for refining your search. So point being is that people are worried about what these new LLM-powered results will mean for our fundamental shared reality. It could spell the end of the canonical answer. And I want to make that point here, is that whenever we've got such a homogenization of information, where's the truth? Where are the canonical answers, the concepts that we should be trusting? If everything's fermenting in AI juice here, right? Man, that's a bad analogy. We're going to lose track of where did the truth come from? Where did the honest truth come from online? We have to have that reckoning. We have to have it pinned down, fenced in, guided, right? And also understand that if we allow it to run rampant, we're going to lose our eyes on the truth. Just like your kids with the bangs in front of their eyes, right? If you don't have clarity on where the truth really lies, then everything is just going to eat itself continually. With all these LLMs that are out there, you have to have a level of canonicalization that is more of a principle of how society is going to work with this than any type of code language. We have to have that separation of, yes, these are useful tools, but they cannot get in the way of the truth that we know out there. And truth is also a point of perspective as well. But where do the stories come from? We have to make sure that we have that as a reckoning for anything that AI generates. Sarah, I'm going to give you the last word on this.
So for 25 years, Google dominated search. Google was actually the search, right?
Yep.
But we're seeing a shift right now. Remember when Google moved from strings to things, now we're moving from keywords to conversational search and questions, right?
Yep.
And instead of links to resources, we need answers. Google's going to, and other LLMs are offering answers, right? And this is a complete shift in how we should tackle search in the future. Not right now, because right now we don't have enough insights on how we should tackle this. There's no answer right now. We're still doing what we know. We're trying to branch out a bit here and there and try new tactics here and there, but we don't know how to tackle this yet as marketers. The shift has heightened the fears of zero-click future. What does that mean for brands? How can we go after this from an SEO standpoint?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of moving parts to how search is changing. Is it only Google, or is it going to be widespread or thinly spread across a lot of platforms? The type of optimizations or the type of content we should be creating, and how is this going to be worthwhile for us? Because right now, the way search is growing in this direction, it's very concerning for publishers, right? Like just this morning, I saw someone's sharing an AI overview that's an entire article with like 60 sources. That's a joke. What about all the people that are ranking, like all the URLs ranking in the top 10?
Mm-hmm.
They're gone. They're pushed so much behind. So
right.
The change is huge, definitely. And it's a bit anxiety-inducing in a way,
Mm-hmm.
or a bit concerning, because we don't have a clear answer, a clear path how to tackle this. And Google isn't helping either with any of the comments they give.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. Not to finish the show on an anxiety-riddled downward spiral, but it's sucking all the water out of the planet, and we have no idea what truth is. There we go.
And our jobs. I like when they said ChatGPT lost its job to AI. I like this so much. Like,
well, we certainly do camp around this on a regular basis. You guys, if you've listened to the show before, you know my perspective on AI. It can be a useful tool, but keep it in where it's supposed to be. Don't let it out of the paddock, because it literally will cloud everything, and we won't have authority, we won't have expertise, and we won't have truth. But that said, that money's in building these tools, building these platforms. Did you catch Gary Vee in LinkedIn? He had a video post where he was on stage and saying, you know what? He was asking the audience, and the audience was between 35 to 60-year-old professionals in the audience. He asked everybody to stand up if they use Google as part of their business marketing plan, right? And then raise your hand if you're using AI as tools here. And what you're just saying is you're using a yellow page concept right now, and in 16 months, you will not be using Google anymore. You must surf on the AI waves that are coming into it. And I don't agree completely. I understand where he's going, but just because it's there doesn't mean we should. And there's got to be a counterbalance of prudency and pragmatism whenever we're rolling these things out, because otherwise we're in a echo chamber of ourselves, and more we're not going to be seeing authentic content. It's all going to be reprocessed, homogenized, white bread content that won't have the flavor or the value of people caring and putting in their passion and their voice into, and their authority into the mix. Sorry, I just went into baking mode. I don't know why. That said, Sarah, give us some positive thoughts here before we sign off.
Positive vibes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, the good news is we as SEOs, we're going through this together as a community. It's not one person thing, or hopefully there's light at the end of the tunnel. I'm not sure if that's very positive, but yeah. I tried.
You did try. I appreciate it. I wasn't really giving you a good stage to set up on. Sara, thank you so much, and thank you for committing to be a regular participant in the AI SEO. You're more than welcome, and you'll see Sara back here probably about 4 to 6 weeks from now as we do another deep dive, and we'll find out what Deepseek did from here to there. Lord Almighty, do you think it's going to drink all the water? I bet it is.
That deep water.
For my water bottle. I'm like, where's my water?
Very good. All right. Well, that said, that's it for The Edge this week. Make sure that you check out the Paula Meyer second episode on Wix Studio. Make sure that you comment, like, and subscribe to our YouTube video as we push this out into our YouTube channel, as well as some insights from our interview series. From all of us over Edge, stay safe, stay well, do not be a piece of cyber driftwood, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.